To Liberia now, where the African Union and regional body ECOWAS are trying to prevent a political crisis. The Supreme Court has suspended next week's presidential runoff between former football star George Weah and current Vice President Joseph Boakai. Third place Charles Brumskeen and his Liberty Party have filed papers with the court alleging fraud in the first round, but observers say the vote was credible. The ruling Unity Party is supporting the legal challenge. It's accused outgoing President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf of interfering in the October vote by holding private meetings with electoral magistrates. Johnson Sirleaf denies the claims. African Union chairperson Alpha Conde is calling for calm.
We have listened to them, to their grievances, and we will analyze the situation.
We have a constitution, we are law-abiding citizens. I think we have the right. As I said, we are waiting to see the process and what will come out.
Well, CGTN Sophia Odengo is following this story and now joins us with more details from Abuja. Sophia, ECOWAS has its headquarters in Abuja, where you're stationed right now. What's ECOWAS saying about this intervention in Liberia?
Well, ECOWAS has had a long-standing intervention in Liberia. This is not the first time we have seen the regional body more or less interfering with the current politics that are happening in Liberia. The big issue here is that the Liberian government, although the Liberian country itself has had the longest-standing republic, really it's had the shortest opportunity to demonstrate some sense of democracy. And even though that was shown through the 12 years that Ellen Johnson Sirleaf was president, following through on that is really the the test that Liberia is currently going through, and that is really why ECOWAS is taking the opportunity now not only to observe the election process, but also to very closely safeguard the peace that has already been established through Ellen Johnson Sirleaf.
And Sophia, the elections row is still the subject of a judicial process before the Supreme Court there. How does the political mediation process fit in with that?
Well, as we mentioned, the economic, coalition of these regional nations really have maintained that the region will need to remain stable. And in order to do that, there must be a cross-checking of governments, as they have done in the Liberian country. And really the focus here is to maintain a sense of democracy. 20 of these candidates have now been zeroed down to 2. And although there have been, some progress made in the electoral process, the idea that perhaps there has been fraud or in some way there has not been a fair election is really what has raised concerns here, not only with ECOWAS but also with the Liberian people itself. And therefore there has to be a step-by-step approach and not rushing through the electoral process.
And ECOWAS led the robust political and military intervention following the election dispute in the Gambia earlier this year. Should we expect a similar level of engagement in Liberia?
Well, we've spoken to a lot of, experts in this field, and unlike the Gambia, where there was a president who would not leave, in essence, and would not give up power, in this case, Liberia is really trying to work out that power dynamic in many ways, and trying to figure out how a successor can come aboard with very little friction. And in this case, ECOWAS is turning towards Liberia and saying that there should not be a sense of pushing and pulling, but instead allow an environment in which democracy can prevail.
Okay, thank you very much. Sophia Odengo there in Abuja for us.